Hey, how you doing? This is RJ. I just want to do a short video today about Bret Ellis. And Bret Ellis is the author of American Psycho. And on his podcast, he literally has said that Black Panther does not deserve to be up there for Best Picture in the Oscars. He just doesn't think it has the merit. And he uses that word specifically, merit. And what he is saying is really reflective of what we've been saying in Comicsgate about comics for a long time now. So I'm just going to read you a couple of his quotes. And I think it's significant because it brings up our concerns to a much, much larger audience. This is what he says. As a piece of representation, they are supporting it. Does it really deserve one? The entertainment press and the studio is selling the notion that Black Panther is a grand piece of cinematic art that cannot be ignored. And this notion is being shoved down our throats, and we can only smile in disbelief, or perhaps understand that this is just the moment we're trapped in. It's a joke, a hoax. It's all fake news, folks. Representation is so important to them, and with a huge, fatuous inclusivity and diversity push, with the most flattering pose that might be at the moment, as if inclusivity and diversity have anything to do with awarding a movie's merits. Yes, this is the culture the Oscars are pushing, and it is rather nauseating. Now, I gotta say, everything he says here, he could be talking about Comicsgate. These are the words that have been coming out of our mouths for quite some time now about the comic book industry. And he's talking about a comic book movie. Now, he's not saying that it's the worst movie in the world. He's just saying that if you judge it simply on its merit, it doesn't deserve all the praise that it has gotten. And the reason why everybody has been giving it all this praise, heaping all this praise on it, and that it has been nominated for an Oscar is simply because the people at Disney are pushing representation and diversity. And everybody is supporting it just because of that representation and diversity. They don't think it's a good movie. They're just supporting it for that reason. Now, I've done a number of videos, one specifically about the fact that on the Women of Marvel podcast, that is one of the key phrases that they use over and over again. Pushing diversity. They make no bones about it. That's what they're doing. They're pushing diversity. They need to push it out there. This is quite simply what the language of the people who are running Marvel actually is. And he's hit the nail right on the head. This is what they are doing. This is their specific intent out of their own mouths, is to push diversity and representation. That's another key word in many of the Marvel podcasts that you hear, representation. And of course, when they use that word representation, they mean it in an identitarian way, which is to say, you put out a symbol that represents the identity of a specific, supposedly oppressed class of people so that they can all rally around it and join their power together and become a movement. That's what they mean by representation. They don't mean it in a way or use it in a way that will actually help the people that they are trying to use and represent, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to use them. They're trying to use their collective power. So again, they can push their ideology farther down the road. They can do it by pushing diversity. This to me shows the fact that finally, people are starting to realize, people on the other end of the scale, not just the normal everyday people like you and I out there on the internet, but people on the other end of the scale, the high end of the scale, the people who are actually used to producing movies that get nominated for Oscars are realizing that this has gone too far. That merit needs to be included in your estimation of the topmost tier of what is actually good. And I find it very telling that he specifically says that Disney is doing everything in its power to make sure that this happens, that this movie will get nominated and try to get it an Oscar for Best Picture. Disney is doing everything in its power to do so. Again, this is working behind the scenes to actually get this done. This is not relying on the merit of the actual product. This is political wrangling in the background in order to gain support. Again, not based upon merit. And this is what is happening with the Captain Marvel movie as far as I'm concerned. This is what they are doing. They're trying to put that representation, they're trying to push that diversity out there to make it what is actually why people should go see this movie, rather than anything to do with the merit of the actual product. Anyways, If I've given you anything new to think about, hit like, hit the shield in the lower right-hand corner of your screen to subscribe, and leave me a comment. Tell me what you think about all this. All right, I'll see you later. Bye.